What's the worst thing to do on a first date? My name's Ryan from Askreddit Tells, and today we're going to be looking at that. But before we do, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to help keep the channel moving forward. The worst date I've ever been on was with a guy who immediately started showing me all the topless pics and skirt-up shots of women he took while in New Orleans. Then he proceeded to talk about rape. So yeah, don't show naked pictures of strangers and talk about rape. If you don't agree on something, ask how you will raise the kids. Then you could start negotiating about how you would divide assets during the divorce. But that could be misconstrued as playful banter. Stick to your guns. Let her know it's not a joke. You need to get to the bottom of this issue if there's any hope for this relationship, which is currently only 20 minutes old. If she genuinely,
acquiesce.
Ask her if it's because she's weak-minded or weak-willed, because it's just as disconcerting as her wanting to put beans in chili, let alone call it chili after the fact that she's put beans in it. Be really charming. Make all the right jokes, observations, and gestures. Make direct eye contact. Be super friendly, but not flirty, with your server. Just enough to make your date say, "Wow, my date is so cool with strangers." Then, when the food comes out, eat with your hands sloppily, burp loudly, don't look up from your meal, snort and snarl a little bit. From time to time, grab food from your date's plate, and right as you're about to touch it, say, "Can I try yours?" Don't wait for a reply, just shove it into your mouth, and before you're able to even chew, put more food in your mouth if you can fart. Then at the end, insist on paying because that's what a good gentleman/lady/date does. For an added bonus, don't worry, you can pay next time. According to my girlfriend, drink apple juice. We've been together for 1.5 years and she hasn't dropped it, even after she did an Instagram poll that she lost and every single other person we asked takes my side. So here's the story. It's one of those everyone tells us we should date, but we pretend to ignore it and get embarrassed things, so there's some build-up. We go to our first proper date after I asked her out on sort of date on her house. We go to a fairly nice lunch restaurant in town. We get to a table and we order drinks. We're both 17 and drinking age, when not with parents, is 18 in the UK, so no booze. I obviously order the apple juice and she says nothing about it. Because who would? We have a nice date finishing it off on the museum. Because obviously I am so immature and unclassy. Go figure. Everything was a tad awkward, but first dates when you're still fairly young and new to relationships will always be like that. But it was good. After maybe 6 months, she tells me in an offhand comment that apple juice was a weird thing to drink on a first date. I'm confused, and rather than explain it at any point, she just says, "I don't know, it just is," and doubles down. It goes on for months, and every so often she brings it up, and is really surprised and shocked that I don't agree with her. Every time I get confused by her judgment of my beverage choice, she says that I'm the weird one and that I just don't understand. I contribute it to maybe her having grown up in America, and maybe it's a thing there. I lived in the UK my entire life. Finally, she gets so annoyed that I don't agree with her forms on Instagram poll. For those who read the original, I realize I spelled poll wrong. I'm a silly mongoose. Asking her like 400 followers what they think, it's almost unanimously in my favor, and rather than admit, she doubles down and says everyone is weird. A year later, she has asked anyone that would answer about it, and the only person to truly agree is her mom. I give up and resign myself to an apple juiceless existence. I comment on a r/askreddit post about worst things to do on a first date. I get a bunch of replies about how she'd be crazy and I should dump her. I won't dump her over that. She's cool with everything else. But I will listen to all of those replies telling me to bulk buy apple juice and solely drink apple juice around her. Sorry if some words are missing spaces between them. My phone keyboard has too much of a gap below the spacebar, so I miss it a lot. Edit. Everyone wanted more context, so I added a bunch. Edit 2. I think we solved it. I have grown up 100% in Britain. My girlfriend grew up in America until the age of 13. Everyone who agrees with my girlfriend seems to be American, or at least not English. Well, I can now go back to her and tell her that she is just a filthy fire ahem, that it's to do with social norms. In America, kids drink apple juice, so American adults, who are more predisposed to judging people, think it's weird and childish. But in the UK, everyone drinks apple juice, and therefore it isn't weird for a British lad. I have a story for this. I met a girl at a dance club back in the day. That was before Facebook and such, so the thing to do was to just exchange home phone numbers, and plan to meet again or chat over the phone. Well, we exchanged our numbers, spoke to each other over the phone, and planned a date. We were going to a restaurant on the main road of town. That was kind of known as the place to go on dates. Although, over the phone she told me she knew the restaurant owner's daughter from school and told me that she'd been quite mean to her during school and that she refuses to support their business. I suggest other locations and asked for suggestions, but she insisted on going there still. I just go ahead with it at that point and set a time to go. I go to pick her up on the night after, and she hops into the car and informs me that she called the restaurant and told them she had a strict diet she had to follow, given to her by her doctor, but wanted to go there for dinner with someone. They allowed her to bring a meal she prepared to eat while at the restaurant. I reacted unfazed and chill with it to seem cool. We eventually get to the restaurant and my meal is on its way, so she pulls her out of a little lunchbox. Out of this strange creator pulls a dish, on it being a can of tuna, a slice of bread, coleslaw, salad with a boiled egg. For dessert, she treated herself with half a packet worth of biscuits from the packet. I'm meaning the long, crinkly, really loud whenever you touch it packs. Definitely memorable. It wasn't what I did, but my date left the movie 30 minutes early to drink at the bar and flirt with men there. I returned to the bar after the movie, bought more beer for my date, and engaged said men in conversation that led to my date being completely ignored. It went downhill from there. Demand to order for them, order them a salad. Shit in their salad, eat their salad. Leave, making them pay for both meals. At 3 a.m., scream in their bedroom window. Call the cops on them for a domestic disturbance. When the cops arrive, accuse your date of shitting in your salad and then stealing it. Once arrested, use your phone to call and arrange another date. Only this time you plan to fuck them in their salad hole. Once a month after that, leave the salad on their doorstep. That gets aggressively bigger each time. I'm a bit late to the party on this one, but have a story of the worst first date I've ever heard of. Also, sorry if formatting is off since I'm on mobile. Anyways, this friend of mine, let's call him John, goes on a first date with this girl who we can call Sally. John drives over to Sally's house, introduces himself, and drives her to the restaurant of her choice, a sit-down Mexican place. John and Sally are really hitting it off over dinner and are both having a great time. Once the meal is done, John can tell that his stomach is not happy with all he just ate, but he ignores it and continues on with the night. Not wanting to end the night there, John asks Sally what she would like to do, and she suggests they go to the carnival that was in town. They both hop back in John's car and head off to the carnival a few minutes away. As they're driving, John's stomach starts to get more and more upset. Thinking it's all in his head, he continues on his wonderful conversation with Sally. As they get out of the car, though, John gets hit with the 5-minute warning when you know you have 5 minutes or less to get to a toilet or things are going to get messy fast. John panicked because he didn't want to run to the bathroom for what could be a while and have his date wait on him. If he did that, she would definitely know he was taking a dump, and that is not what he thinks would be romantic. Almost lost in thought over what to do in this predicament, Sally snaps John back to the date by asking if they could ride some carnival rides together. Without thinking, he agrees and they head off to buy the tickets. As they finish buying a few ride tickets, John starts to prairie dog, but can't seem to find any bathrooms nearby. Sally turns to John and tells them that they should really ride the exciting ride that they were by. This particular ride is shaped like a Ferris wheel, but each cage straps 2 people completely in, and the individual cages flip continuously as the cages go around the Ferris wheel spin. Dread has set in. There's no turning back at this point, and the carnival worker ride locks them into their seats. From the moment that the door locked shut, John knew he was screwed. He felt it start to come out. The ride started spinning around and flipping started as John felt the diarrhea slowly ooze out of the bottom of his khaki shorts. The diarrhea then started to fling all over the cage and splattered all over Sally and John. It felt like an eternity later, the ride stopped. Sally was stunned, speechless, and covered in her date's excrement. John, equally covered, without saying a word, unfastened himself from the ride, opened the cage door, and speed-walked his way to his car, where he drove away. He left Sally all alone in that forsaken carnival ride, with no way to get home, but to just sit there, covered in another person's crap. It's been an odd tradition whenever I tell a poop story like this one to new friends, and they also share their own with me. If you enjoyed hearing of others' misfortunes with poop, I'd be glad to share. This will probably get buried in the comments, but thank you to anyone who does give it a read. Once went on a horrible first date with someone I met on a train and, at the time, seemed to have a connection with. About midway through the meal, and it's been so long I can't remember context, she said she could see why Hitler thought he was right, then argued his case. It was about that time that I started talking to the people at the next table. Invite someone on a date via email because you misremembered who they were from a college class, and then just stare blankly at them when they meet you for the date. Over a decade later, and I'm still bitter as F, Alexis. I don't know if it's the worst, but if you go for a dinner in a restaurant, or even just stop at a fast food place for a quick bite to eat, never mistreat the employee of said restaurant. How you treat others is a major indicator of how your personality as a whole. I had a great date with a couple years back. We went to a local festival and were enjoying the random booths on the street. We decided to stop for a quick burger at an A&W. My date was a total a-hole to the server. He basically made a lot of sarcastic jokes and rude comments when the server was just doing his job. Example being, but not limited to, "Do you want cheese on your burger?" "Well, of course I do." Turns to me and says loudly, "Is that a joke? What burger doesn't come with cheese? Ridiculous." I ordered my food, ate, and excused myself. He showed a side of him that was a proper douche. Go bareback. My neighbor was separated and then divorced after a long marriage, 30 years. He went on a date with a friend of a friend type. They hit it off and end up back at his newly empty house. Being out of the dating game for years, he wasn't prepared and, well, wham bam thank you ma'am. He's 54 and his new roommates are early 40s and about 2 weeks old. His daughter, her husband, and his 3 grandchildren are also visiting this weekend. Her daughter and grandchildren are also coming for a cookout today. He spent a few hours on deck last night drinking a bit and is afraid to go home. His divorce hasn't even been final 6 months. Had the 1,000-yard stare going. Looks like that's all the time we have for today. If you liked the video, make sure to check out some of our other stuff and even subscribe. As always, my name's Ryan from Askreddit Tells, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.